What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another comprehensive card breakdown. Today we're going to be looking at Leafeon VSTAR. I will be covering every single one of the VSTARs. I know that Arceus was the coolest one, and Charizard was one of the other cooler ones, but we're going to go through all of them for the sake of fairness and the sake of, deck building and not leaving something out. And in case we miss something, I know some of these ideas are not going to be crazy cool or whatever, and you guys might already be like, oh, I know that, Rahul. But just for the sake of my own, this is what I look at when I look at cards, so I'm going to get you guys through that. If you guys enjoy the content, obviously like, subscribe, get me down, some love in the comments. I don't know, just cool. I mean, and I will be letting you guys know the moment that Pokemon Live comes out, you can expect 7 days of videos for at least a little bit until I burn myself out. But I am really excited, and I have a good content itch and a bunch of ideas, so I'm hoping for the best. So let's jump right into it. So comprehensive card breakdown. Today we're looking at Leafeon VSTAR, one of the 6 new VSTARs coming out in Brilliant Stars. I guess it kind of is a promo, so it kind of is like out, but I'm counting it. I'm counting it. It's going in with everybody else. So here's Leafeon VSTAR. This comes in a little bit of a promo box. We have our Leafeon VSTAR, which evolves from Leafeon V. It is a 2-prize like all the other VSTARs we've talked about. 260 HP, Grass typing. Now, Grass typing is a really cool typing because it hasn't had a lot of love recently, but a lot of new Dark-type Pokemon that are very strong are weak to Grass type, so Grass does get a little bit of love here. It evolves from any Leafeon V Pokemon, which you might know we've got a really good Leafeon V already, but we'll get there. Leaf Guard, Grass, Colorless, 180, and 30 less damage next turn. Nothing really to write home about. The attack is very mediocre. 180 for 3 is like a good cleanup on a 2-shot, but it's not a lot. It will kill something for weakness, though. And then the ability here is V-Star Power, IV-Star. Once during your turn, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. It's basically a free Gust. It gives you a second supporter effect in the same turn without having to use a supporter. Not the strongest, but not the weakest for sure. It can definitely give you that one big swing turn that you need to kind of win a game in a pinch. Weakness Fire, not really relevant unless Charizard gets very strong and Entei gets very strong. Retreat 2. Both things there. Leafeon V, 210 HP, Leaf Guard 30 loss next turn. Nothing to write home about. Same thing with the second attack, Slashing Strike, Grass, Colorless, 180. This next turn, this Pokemon can't use Slashing Strike. Now, both these attacks are not good enough to warrant this Leafeon V taking the place of the one that we already have in the deck. Now, I'll jump right into that now. Here's the Leafeon V we already have and the Leafeon Vmax we already have, kind of putting the whole package together. Now, Leafeon VSTAR isn't super overwhelming. It's actually kind of underwhelming, and the new Leafeon V is pretty bad. But this Leafeon V we've already had for a while has the ability Greening Cells. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Grass Energy attached to one of your Pokemon. Does not specify anything about that Pokemon, can be any Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. If you use this ability, your turn ends. That ability is absolutely nuts. Going first, you are far and away very, very far ahead on board position. You can set up an attacker to go get ready turn 2. Grass doesn't have any actual acceleration, so this is very, very good. And it can also be like a tech card in decks if you want to play like a Grass engine in a certain deck. Then you have Leafeon Vmax, which we've kind of known and seen in a certain form till now. With the Grass not attack, a Grass colorless 60 times the number of colors in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost, which is pretty decent. A lot of Pokemon have pretty heavy retreat. Max Leaf with the Grass colorless 170 and heal 30. So if you wanted to go for kind of a healing approach and a 2-shotting approach, also a good stance to take. Keep in mind Leafeon Vmax does give up 3 prizes, and the real star here is this Leafeon V with the Greening Cells ability. Now, here are some potential attackers to pair up with our Leafeon friend. Now, until now, we've just played Leafeon as it is, kind of throwing it into an Inteleon engine, eating up a ton of slots. We'll talk about that engine in a second. But what if we kind of started pairing the Greening Cells card with cards like Dhelmise? Dhelmise Vmax hitting for 240 for 3. That is significantly higher than what we've already got. And with V-Stars coming to the format, a Choice Helmet later, you're hitting for 270. That's pretty much one-shotting almost every V-Star in the format. Swinging Chain, 30 times the number of Grass Energy attached to this Pokemon to one Pokemon. It's a clean-upper. You can snipe something. Nothing crazy. You've got this really cool Zarude V that's got Jungle Rising. You might attach up to 2 basic energies from your hand to your Pokemon any way you like, your bench Pokemon. If you attach Pokemon, or attach energy, you heal all damage from that Pokemon. So you can kind of go for a healing approach with this Zarude. You can power it up by turn 2 with the Jungle Rising, or you can set it up in the middle of the game with a Raihan or some other combo, and you can keep healing your big Leafeon Vmaxes, your V-Star. You can kind of heal your other big attackers, and you can just basically build an unbeatable fortress kind of thing with a healing loop with some healing cards, and just making it really hard for your opponent to play the game. Rillaboom Vmax is another card that I thought was really cool. This has the max beating attack, 130 plus 50 for each Grass Energy you discard, and you can discard up to 3. So you're capping out completely at 280. But with a Choice Helmet, you're hitting for 310, which is putting you in pretty good range to like one-shot a good majority of VMAXs. And now we don't have anything one-shot reliant in this deck currently, so this Rillaboom could be your cleanup, could be your attacker. The problem is it does require 3 grass energies and a colorless, so you can't really power it up like out of the blue or anything. You can't just like drop it like a Zarude and Raihan and attach or something, or like you have to greening cells to a Rillaboom, and it's also a VMAX. It's a little bit more telegraphed than something else would be, but it's very cool. And here are examples of decks that Leafeon could kind of slot its way into, be that one of tech card if you're already playing like 2 or 3 Leafeon V, and you can play like 1 Leafeon V-Star to kind of have that ability if you need it. You can slot it into a Galarian Moltres style build, giving you access to Dire Flame Wings, good typing there. You can play a bunch of 2-prizers then in your deck with Aurora energies, and you can use the Greening Cells ability to kind of Greening Cells plus Dire Flame Wings to power up your 2-prizers. You can use the Dire Flame Wings ability to power up your Leafeon VMAX, V-Star, whatever. Sylveon Vmax, another deck that is really, really good with the Max Harmony ability, so it adds another typing for your deck with the Grass type on the bench. And then Sylveon needs 3 energy to attack anyway with a double turbo, so you can use either Sylveon's ability to going first or Leafeon's ability going first if you need to kind of power up your board or get an item to kind of get your setup going. A very easy inclusion in something like this, a toolbox deck like that. And then Arceus V-Star, our vanilla hero coming into the new set. Anything and everything can pair well with this guy, so that's all I've got for you. Anything can pair with this guy. It's just very, very good. So here's a skeleton. Here's like my initial skeleton of if you were just going to play Leafeon as a Leafeon deck. This is kind of what we've kind of learned to know right now at this point with this Inteleon engine that already exists. You play our 4-3 line of Leafeon VMAX because you need 2 per game, and having a 3rd prize really sucks if you have to discard 1 here and there. And then you have 1 Leafeon V-Star. I don't think you'll ever need more than 1 because of the IV-Star ability, and that's really all you need it for to kind of close out a game. With a 4-4-2 1 Inteleon line, you've got all of your search in the deck, and with this kind of a build, you're stalling out your opponents. You're trying to just slowly out damage them with the grass knots. You've got your like set supporter engine we've had for a long time, 4 quick, 4 level 3 evo. That's very staple in our like Inteleon lines. An energy search, which acts as just like a pseudo energy that we can get from Inteleon. 1 copy of Switch, 3 Galar Mine, and then we've got a ton of energy to kind of back it up. But this does eat up 52 card slots because the Inteleon engine is very thick. It takes up a lot of the deck, and that basically leaves no room for kind of negotiation in the back row. So here's what a list I think would look like moving into the next format. I did bling it out a little bit, but I think if you stick with this Galar Mine Inteleon engine, you can play cards like Moltres. They slot them very in. I don't have a V-Star in this list, but you can very easily cut a card for the V-Star because the angle isn't for the V-Star with this list. So I'm going to kind of explain the logic behind why I think the V-Star doesn't slot well into something like this, but it's very easy to slot a V-Star into this kind of a list. Just cut a card like an energy or something somewhere. Maybe just import properly, whatever. There's supposed to be a V-Star on this list, but you can just cut 1 card like an Evo Incense, get it in there, and all of a sudden the Inteleon engine and the Moltres just kind of pairs super well together. Now, here is my new take on Leafeon V-Star / Leafeon VMAX. I think the Greening Cells ability is absolutely nuts, and I think Leafeon V-Star is very, very strong. You can kind of pair the two together to kind of play it with any other attacker, so you kind of remove the shell of the Inteleon, pull all of that out of the deck, makes a ton of space for the deck. Now you can play Ultra Balls, which I think is a staple. You can consider that a staple, maybe not. Play like 1 Rugged Stadium, Rugged Field, or whatever it's called. 3 Galar Mines is still fine, and you get Choice Helmets. So you get all this new addition, this new sauce to the deck that was previously not there. So what does the list look like? Now, here's a list that I devised that is focused on the Arceus and most of this Leafeon. You're still using your Leafeon to kind of swing in there, get a lot of damage in, and you're using Pokemon Center Ladies to kind of keep the healing going. You can heal 90 in 1 turn, and then you have the Arceus V-Star to kind of power up your Leafeons with a Trinity Nova, set up these 2 shots. You can even use the Trinity Charge on turn 1 to power things up, and then you have a Delmise in the backside to kind of do a ton of damage with the Max Anchor, and you have a bunch of healing cards to kind of keep this guy alive. You have a Raihan to kind of get the ball rolling, and you need a Manaphy in this kind of a deck because the bench damage will start adding up very quickly, and you are playing kind of more of a healing and more like less like in your face build. And here's a second build that focuses way more on the Delmise engine with a couple of small changes. Now, if you look between the 2 lists, you can see we cut a Turbo Energy, more grass, because Delmise does benefit off the more grass. The Arceus doesn't need to attack more than once, really. We're playing cards like Hyper Potion as opposed to Pokemon Center Lady, because we want to be able to use Hyper Potion to kind of heal our Delmise, keep it in the active, do a ton of damage, maybe keep our Arceus in the active, do a ton of damage. And the Leafeon engine isn't as strong, so we don't need the Galar Mines. We can use the Rugged Stadium to clear our bench. And we're going to play a Beeble line. I think a 1-1 Beeble line, when we're thinning so quickly, is going to be very useful to keep filling our hand up and not have to blow that Arceus V-Star ability early enough, which then means that Leafeon V-Star's ability can kind of shine. With all that being said, I think Leafeon VSTAR is a supporting cast card as opposed to a mainstay card. So unless Leafeon as a deck entirely becomes good, I don't think Leafeon VSTAR will see play significantly. It will slot itself into Leafeon VSTAR decks or VMAX decks for sure, but it's not a mainstay card. But for the sake of transparency and learning, we're going to look at every single VSTAR card. So this is your Leafeon VMAX or VSTAR complete breakdown. And I will see you guys next time for either Glaceon, Whimsicott, or I forgot the other one. But there is another one. And we will go over it. So goodbye.